Hey guys, so recently there was a shooting at a historic church in South Carolina. In Charleston, it was a predominantly black church with a long history in the civil rights movement. A white 21-year-old man walked in, went to an hour-long Bible study, and after went on a shooting rampage that killed 9 people. The first thing I want to talk about in this video is the reaction that I've been seeing online. A lot of people are commenting on the way the shooter was taken into custody in comparison to how black people are regularly treated by the police.
Well, Jaclyn Glenn has decided to weigh in. Somehow she took a break from all her vlogs and all her Instagramming and her duck facing to peek on her social media. And what did she see? She saw the dumbass Jon Stewart speech, and she saw the propaganda from the racist left, racist against white people, sorry, just to specify the unspoken racism. And she has decided to comment on it. And her first 2 comments are she's going to go after the real hard-hitting, the real tough calls to make. Number 1 is the 2 people on Fox News who said this was an attack on Christianity and didn't acknowledge that it was racism. And then just a general blanket statement that, hey, anybody who doesn't think this is racist, it's racist. It's amazing. It's like, who is she talking to? It's like, nice target. What is the point of that? It's like me getting on here and saying, hey, the earth is round. I got news for you people. The earth is round. And if you're out there, and because I heard somebody who said the earth was flat, and I was like, no way, bro. That's not even true. Earth is round, I'm telling you. So it's just, crazy. And then she talks about this image that was floated around, which is so ridiculously laughable. The cherry-picked image of the black guy, was it Gardner, who got choked out and died, who said he couldn't breathe, who resisted arrest, and then there was this huge ordeal that this obese man died from the incident. There's a picture of that guy, and then a picture of this racist kid in Charleston being led away into custody. But because he wasn't being choked during the process, while he had his handcuffs on, mind you, that's somehow unfair. We need to dogpile and choke out this white guy as a revenge to keep it equal? Fucking ridiculous. Listen to what she says.
In this photo, you see a black man who was selling cigarettes, and you see how he's being treated. And then you see the guy who killed 9 people, and the cops are like, well, yeah, he killed 9 people, but let's not use excessive force.
I mean, this is such a horrendous display of logic, cherry-picking, editing. First of all, I can't even fathom how stupid this is to post this up and think you've made a point. I could find thousands, hundreds of thousands of examples of cops physically restraining white people who resisted arrest. Hundreds of thousands. It happens all the time. Guess what? This little kid didn't resist arrest. He didn't resist arrest. And guess what? Now he's going to jail and he will be put to death. What would have happened to Gardner if he had survived that chokehold? And nobody's even talking about this guy who choked him. And yeah, of course, he should have not used that technique. He should have stopped, etc. This guy shouldn't have been morbidly obese. It was an accident. What would have happened? He would have been led to jail, given every right possible, and let out of jail. Add it to his criminal record, which was long. Add another item to it, and he's done. This white guy is going to be put to death. And rightfully so, but oh, doesn't he have it easy? He's got a bulletproof vest. The fuck is that about? This is like this bloodlust that they want somehow revenge. It's not good enough that we're going to kill this guy. No, we want you to rough him up when you take him into custody. Such shameless nonsense.
I mean, look at him. He's white. Be gentle. Oh, and get him a bulletproof vest, too.
And do you hear that little attitude on her? Oh, look at him. He's white. Be gentle. That's her interpretation of you, Mr. White person watching this. She thinks you are a fucking racist because you're white. She thinks you're treating this murderer kindly because you're white and he's white. Do you realize how fucking insulting that is? That is just insane. This girl puts on her makeup, gets in front of a camera, and in front of her huge audience, just decides to be like, oh, I'll just disparage all white people and accuse them of being racist. My evidence? They took a murderer into custody, but they didn't do it violently enough. White people are racist. Disgraceful.
I've seen a lot of reactions like this online, and I think a lot of people who say things like this are half joking, kind of, but, you know, you never want the police to use excessive force. This guy deserves to be punished to the full extent of the law. He deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison, but that doesn't mean that he deserves people to shoot him or the cops to shoot him or beat him, to death. There's nothing good about police brutality, and it's something that should never be encouraged.
And can you believe she felt it necessary to make this point? God, I love it when people make like totally redundant points. It's a point that does not need to be said. It's incredible that she feels the need to say the point. It tells you what's going on in her brain. She's like, I'm wondering if I would have been happier if they had beaten him, sort of bloodied him up, maybe choked him for a bit. I feel like that would have been more equal, and I kind of want them to do that to this white guy. But I don't think police brutality is good, really, ever. Thank you, Jaclyn. Thank you, you enlightened, noble warrior. It's like me. This weekend, I'm going to be babysitting for my friend. And before they go, as they're going out the door, I'm going to say, hey, guys, enjoy your movie. It's your date night. And just rest assured that I am not going to be raping your toddler. Seriously, I just want to reassure you that your toddler will not be raped. Not a chance in the world. No raping whatsoever going to be happening. Enjoy your film, guys. Catch you later. It says more about you, Jaclyn, that you had to say that you're against police brutality. Jesus. Look how far back we have to go. Look at the baseline we have to establish.
The problem is not that this guy was treated with, a special privilege. The problem is that people who are black are often treated unfairly, and that's the problem that we need to focus on.
People that are black are often treated unfairly? What? Oh, cry me a river. Oh, the people that are black, they're often treated unfairly by the cops? Maybe they should stop dealing with the cops. Maybe they should stop committing crimes. How about you mention that in the sentence? Like, please just mention that the black people are insanely more criminal than every other race of people. Is that worth a mention? Or no, they're the victims, right? So while they're committing crimes, while they are killing infinitely more people than every other race in America kill, they're getting victimized. Oh, I'm supposed to feel bad for that? Fuck that. But thank you, Jaclyn, for not just fighting police brutality. No, fighting police brutality when it comes to black people. That's your noble crusade. That's your exorcism of your white guilt. You seem whiter than the average white person. Look at the makeup job. She goes to like a mortician to get her makeup done. Get some sun. You live in Los Angeles.
However, it is...
Elvira. Now this gets fucking even more retarded than we've already been. What is this stat? Jaclyn, you watch shit on your social media that is, you watch the Young Turks. You watch shit that they repeat over and over their agenda. So they have hand-selected instances time and time again. Why don't you and I go onto World Star Hip Hop and let's find black people beating up white people time and time again. And every week, I'm going to post 5 of those stories to your newsfeed. And then what are you going to do? You're going to get up in front of your camera and be like, you know what we got to do? We got to fight this whole backlash against white people and the attacks of black people on white people. That's what's happening. That's what I saw in my newsfeed.
However, it is worth mentioning that there is a sharp contrast between how black guys and white guys are treated whenever they're taken into custody. I mean, you can have a black guy who is running from the police, who is scared, and the police can say, well, we feared for our lives, so we had to shoot him down. But this white guy who just killed 9 people, and we know he just killed 9 people, well, I mean, that's just not as threatening.
What a fucking ludicrous thing to say. First of all, she's loosely referencing the black guy who was running away from the cop who had pulled him over for a speeding ticket or a traffic violation, and then got shot in the back. And the guy was going to try to lie about it, was going to try to plant a gun or plant his taser. Okay, what happened in that case? The guy got charged with homicide and is in jail, and will be in jail. He's no longer a cop. Everybody denounced what he did. And then she references this guy like, I'm sorry, how do you think they apprehended this guy in South Carolina? Please explain that to me. Do you think they knocked on his door? She's making it sound like it was just, duck, duck, duck. Hey, just wondering if the killer's in here. Also, we have some Thin Mint cookies we want to sell you. Jaclyn, they went and stormed his house, guns drawn. And if he did any fucking thing, he would have been shot. Turns out he gave himself up. And then once arrested, once detained, once handcuffed, you're upset that he's not getting beaten on as he's getting walked to the car that will lead him to the cell, which will lead him to the court, which will lead him to the death penalty. That's not good enough for you. Fucking batshit lunacy.
But mostly I'd like to focus on how the media does not want to call this a hate crime.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Now it's the word game. It's not bad enough She's not satisfied until it's a word that is just powerful enough. It was evil. It was horrendous. We are going to kill him now. What he did, it is poo-poo. What do you want? What negative word do you want? Hate crime? Sure, it's a hate crime. Who's arguing that? God, if he had political aims, which apparently after reading his manifesto, he had some screwed up anti-American white supremacy shit going on, sure, you could call it terrorism. Be my guest. Do not try to create a false equivalence that this guy commits an insane act and now black people don't kill 10 times more often white people than white people kill black people. That's not a true stat anymore. Or Muslims. Muslims don't kill at a comical rate around the world now because this white guy did something.
You have Fox News, who was sitting there saying that it wasn't a racial thing, it was just because he didn't like Christians. Again, we have persecution of the Christians. No, it wasn't racist at all, even though there's a picture of him on Facebook wearing a jacket with a Rhodesia badge on it. Oh, and the license plate on the front of his car says Confederate States of America.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And once again, here's the quick and dirty version. Rhodesia is racist. It's black people in Rhodesia are racist. In Zimbabwe are insanely racist. You clearly have no idea what's going on in Zimbabwe and that white people are being targeted and killed in what is known as a genocide. That's what's happening in Zimbabwe. So you're right, it is racist. Don't get me wrong. It's just not your kind of racism. It's the kind you don't talk about ever. Not once. Untalked about. Jaclyn Glenn covering the racism directed at white people. You're going to get a hair and makeup tutorial before you get that.
He also made sure that there was a survivor and he told them, I have to do it. You rape our women and you're taking over our country and you have to go. He was racist. 9 people were shot to death by a racist white guy who hated them because they were black. But let's not call it a hate crime.
Oh yes, Jaclyn, it's a grand conspiracy of us white people. That's right, we want to treat this murderer as kindly as possible as we execute him. Absolute garbage. Here's the mayor of Charleston, a white guy, part of our grand conspiracy. He said everything must be done to find the culprit he described as, quote, somebody filled with hate and with a deranged mind. The man is a, quote, no good, horrible person who must be taken into custody as soon as possible. Of course, we will make sure he pays the price for this horrible act. Translation, we are going to kill this guy because we are against what he did, because everybody should be against what he did. But I would like to get back to Eric Gardner and point out the hypocrisy when you juxtapose Eric Gardner with this guy, Dylan Storm? Dylan Storm Roof? Dylan Storm Roof. That's his name? Jesus. Okay. So why is it that Eric Gardner, they just tried to detain him? He just resisted their arrest. They were trying to bring him in for questioning about the cigarettes. This would not have turned anywhere near violent, but he resisted. And yet they didn't pull guns on him. But with Dylan, they came in guns drawn. They had guns pointed at this poor victim white kid, and yet not the black guy? Wow, this is racist. Amazing. Well, I mean, let's not point out the differences, the obvious differences with these two cherry-picked cases. No, let's get hyper-specific about the fact that Dylan had guns drawn on him and he's a white guy, and Eric Gardner, there wasn't a single gun drawn on the guy. Unfair. This is garbage. We live in a racist world in which black people kill white people 10 times more often than white people kill black people. Now, choke to death on that stat. I can't breathe on that stat. They love this narrative. I mean, at this point, thank you, Jaclyn. Once again, you've pointed out that the earth is round. It's seriously impressive. But why? I'm curious as to why she would feel the need to do a video where she's like, this was a racist attack. Why is that? Why is she not addressing the far more interesting and complex issues, like the stats about who is killing who, which race is killing which race? Why is she not tackling that? Because it's not a sexy narrative. It's not a narrative that's going to alleviate her white guilt. It's far easier to just point out the boogeyman. It's the white man. It's the white guys. And I told you before, and now I have confirmation because a white guy killed a black person.
Also consider the area where this happened. I mean, Charleston is a very racist area.
Oh, this is so embarrassing. What is she talking about? The South is racist. We know the South is racist. We know that we come from a history of even more racism. We know that before we even got to America, there was racist tribal shit going on with the Native Americans. They were enslaving each other. What do you think the Aztecs were doing? I'm not going to sit here and take a cold shower every time I think about the Aztecs and what they did, or what the Zulus were doing, or what any other group of humans have done. We are living in the present moment. In the present moment, we condemn instantly acts of violence against another race for racist reasons, or for any reasons. You're not allowed to do this, which is why we arrested him and put him in jail and are going to kill him. Not good enough? Clearly not.
Jon Stewart has an incredible piece on this, which everyone should watch, but in it he mentioned that there are roads in South Carolina that are named after Confederate generals who fought to keep black people from driving freely on those roads. I mean, if you look around, there are Confederate flags everywhere. That is not okay.
And again, the obsession about the South and the Confederacy. There is racism everywhere in the country. So I don't care if the guy is coming from Seattle or San Diego, there's racists there, and they're not all white. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. First, and I love the fact that, where was this guy? He's in a black church. What is a black, if I said, oh no, there's a white church, it's a white-only church, would you accuse me of being racist? Of course you would. But we're allowed to have black churches? So this congregation is 99 whatever percent black, and has been for hundreds of years. How is that not racism? Somebody explain that to me. He went into a black church. And you say, oh no, they'll let white people in. They'll let whoever come in. Oh great, well I guess that problem solved. We have a black president, so there's no more racism in America.
He also said that we've invaded 2 countries, spend trillions of dollars, and fly drones over 5 to 6 different countries just to keep America safe. Do whatever you can to keep America safe, right? But we don't do shit about this.
Oh my God. I'm gonna seriously lose my mind. What the hell? Do you feel the departure? I mean, I feel the wind of the shift in the conversation of, we've invaded 2 countries? We've invaded hundreds of countries. Why have you selected these 2? First of all, why aren't we talking about Vietnam right now or Korea? It makes no sense. Why are we talking about the US foreign policy at all? We're talking about a racist attack that one kid did. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about your insane extrapolation and accusation towards white people at large that, oh, it's racist because they didn't beat the guy up as they marched him to the police car. And then you bring up Iraq and the money we spent. So now we're involved in a foreign policy discussion and a budgetary analysis of the US military for no goddamn reason. And then she says, and we're going to do nothing about this. What is the this? Explain to me what the this is. Because we've done everything about this. We've eradicated the problem, who was Dylan. We've taken him out. And please tell me you're not naive enough to think that, no, the problem is racism, and the problem is the Confederate flag and the South, and let's just eradicate the millions of racists in the country. That's not happening. And I would like to hear I'd like to hear one of these progressives acknowledge that black people are racist. Please acknowledge it. Do you want me to put together, in fact, I should do that. Let's go through Twitter and let's find black people being insanely racist towards white people, calling for the killing of white people. You don't think I'm going to find that? You have got to be kidding me.
We don't want to recognize a real problem where it clearly exists. So you know what? We don't need to look outside of America to see terror or to be terrorized. It's happening right here. This is something that needs to be talked about. Not avoided, not covered up by pretending that it's something else. This is not something that was aimed at Christians. This is something that was aimed at black people.
Not avoided and not covered up. Okay, well then if you don't want to avoid stuff, why don't you address this graph? Address that. Why are you avoiding that, Jaclyn? Because our problem in this world is not 21-year-old white racists killing black people in black churches. That is not the big problem. We're not going to be worried about that next week. You know what is going to happen next week? Black people are going to kill white people at a rate that is 10 times higher than the alternative. Not to mention, the rate at which black people kill other black people is astronomical and unforgivable. Are you going to address that? Why don't you address the violence in the black community? No? You don't want to? You want to stick to the white people are racist thread? Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, so why don't you pump out about 500 more Instagrams of your fucking duck face looking like a goddamn corpse, clinging to the idea that you are somehow a celebrity because you state rudimentary things, basic stuff online. You get on here and, oh, but you're the girl, you're the female mascot of atheism, so I guess you get a pass for jumping up here and being like, hey, humans didn't live with dinosaurs, that's crazy. Aren't those creationists crazy? Can you believe somebody said it wasn't racist? I'm Jaclyn Glenn. I called them out on that. Wink. Stupid.
But if we're going to talk about Christianity, I would like to point out one thing. The families of the victims and their loved ones have been the perfect example of what Christians and Christianity should be about. Here is someone who just murdered 9 people, and they're reaching out to him and offering forgiveness and are being so loving, and I don't know how they can do that. I don't know if I could be a big enough person to do something like that.
Oh, for fuck's sake. It's not being a big person to be a Christian lunatic and forgive the person that just killed your mother or your friend or your son. That is absolutely bonkers. They should not be forgiving this guy. And I love how Jaclyn, you can tell that she's recently Christian. You can tell that she has this bizarre Christian shit software running on her brain where she thinks that's commendable. I don't know if I could be big enough to forgive the guy that just murdered everybody I loved. Why the fuck would they do that? And did you hear what they said to him? They're like, I pray for your soul and I forgive you, but God is going to judge you, and so your soul, you're probably going to hell. Let's keep it real here. These people are insane. The black people in that church are insane. Yes, we all feel bad that they were killed. This is a tragedy beyond measure. But they are literally insane. And their forgiveness of this white kid is insane. It should never have happened. He should not be forgiven. We should celebrate this kid's death. How the fuck can you not see that? It's so bizarre to me. She said this in public. And it's not just her. Other people are like, isn't it amazing that they've forgiven? Isn't it so? Shouldn't we all forgive? Turn the other cheek, everybody. Isn't that great? When is turn the other cheek? How is that remotely moral? These people do not have a monopoly on morality. Jesus Christ, these are the same people who think it was moral to enslave people. And this concept of turn the other cheek, forgive, love your enemy, fuck that. That is the stupidest morality I've ever heard. It's not moral. It's insane. Just like condoning slavery is insane. Man.
So my thoughts and deepest condolences go out to the family members and loved ones of those killed. I'm really sorry that we live in a time still where stuff like this happens. It's completely unacceptable, and I hope that we can make a change to preventing things like this from happening again. And it's probably going to take a lot of work to get there, but in my opinion, the first step and the most important step is admitting, finally, there is still a huge problem with racism in America. So let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section below. Give it a thumbs up, share it everywhere. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Okay, so the problem is not guns. And by the way, a quick fuck you to every single American watching this. If you're an American watching my channel, fuck you. I am nauseated looking at your comments. They disgust me. You are the reason we are a fucking joke around the world. Okay? Citizens should not own guns. The arguments you have put forward are a fucking embarrassment to YouTube comments. And that is saying an enormous amount. I am so sick to death of you people. So don't fucking tell me again how you are in favor of guns. Yeah, you and your short little hairy dick. Great, go squeeze your gun off. Go, dude, I can't even get into it. Enough. I hate you people, okay? I fucking hate you. Unsubscribe. I'm literally telling you, do not watch my videos. I'm sick of making you laugh. I'm sick of entertaining you. You don't deserve me. Leave. And Jaclyn Glenn, yes. Oh, the problem is racism. No, let's get hyper specific. Let's come up with another word. White racism. Wacism. We need a new word here because she's not talking about racism, generic term. She's talking about white people. That is specifically what she's mentioning here. And she is ignoring this graph. Jaclyn, do a video on this graph and put 15 minutes into it. I'd love to hear what you have to say, but please get back to your duck face.